Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. Karibuni tena kwa channel yetu Masri Tutor. This time leo tunataka upgrade. So leo tunafanya Kpsea mwaka huu, sawa? Si mwaka uliopita wala si mwaka uliopita, mwaka huu. So we're going to do this paper, a very easy paper. I haven't seen any easy paper like this. I don't know why the students were whining, but it's a very much easy paper. Now for the first question, you've been told that a piece of land was sold at 346,920. What's the price of the land in watts? So obviously I've just said it in watts. So this is 300, okay, 346,000, or 346,000 if you wanted to write like that. 46,920. 920. So yeah, now let's go to question 2. A school library has 49,361 books. So obviously, let me just write this down. So we've been told that it has 49,361 books. Okay, what's the place value of digit 9? So digit 9 is this one. So if you start from 1, this is ones, this is tens, this is hundreds. So obviously this one is in thousands. So remember that the place value is thousands. This is the place value. If they were asking for the total value, then the answer would have been different. Then it will have been 9 times the thousands to give you 9,000. So 9,000 is usually your total value, but since the question is mainly concentrating on the place value, so the place value is just there for thousands. Tamam. So question 3. Alana, a very hardworking Lana. So Alana wrote the following numbers on cards, which is 46,455, 62,326, 200,152, and 59,441. The cards were arranged in a descending order. What was the correct arrangement? Okay, descending order. What does descending order mean? Before even attempting to answer that question, what is a descending order? A descending order usually starts from the largest to the smallest. It descends. So just like angel Jibril descended from heaven, so he came from a higher position to a lower position. So that's the meaning of a descending order. Kitu imeshuka, umeshuka, so descending. Ascending, umepanda, so from smallest to largest. But for descending is from highest to smallest. So highest to lowest, or you can say smallest, whichever the term that you use is your correct. Now if you look at it, which one is the highest one? Obviously the one that's in the place values of thousand, hundreds of thousands, which is 200,152. okay, then followed by the other one is supposed to be the 60,000, which is 62,326. Then followed by the 50,000, which is 59,441. And I think it's let me avoid writing this way because of the commas. And then we have, last but not least, 46,455. Last but not least, or is the least, or last but the least. So those are 4 numbers. So and the answer is given there, which is this one. So that's the correct arrangement. So hopefully, yeah. Let's continue to the other question. Now for the 4th question, is asking you that a nursery bed has 91 rows of three seedlings or buildings. Each row has 807 tree seedlings. So how many seedlings are in the nursery bed altogether? So remember that it has 91 rows. For every row, they have 807 3 seedlings. So let me write seedlings. Then you ask yourself, what about 91 rows? Therefore, you multiply the two, that is 91 times 807. Okay, divide by 1. I discourage the students using calculators, so let's just multiply the way you should multiply. So 807 times 91. So 7 goes into 1 7 times, 0 times 1 gives you 0, 8 times 1 8, 9 times 8 gives you 72, carry 7, 0 times 9 is 0, then add 7 gives you 7, 8 times 9 is therefore 72. So if you add those up, 7, 2, 8 plus 7, 15, 2 plus 1 is 3, 73. So your final answer is supposed to be 73,527, unless I got somewhere wrong. Let me check it out. It's 7. Yeah, I got something wrong here. This one is supposed to be 7, because 1 times 0 is 0, but if I add 7 gives you 7. So yeah, so that's the wrong part that I did. So 7 plus 2 should be 9, but still I'm not getting the correct answer. Again, I don't know where. Now, as you know, students, if you usually get wrong, it's better to start from this beginning. Let's start from the beginning there. So again, we say 7 times 1 is 7. This times this. This times 1, 0 times 1 is 0. 8 times 1 is 8. Therefore, I was wrong. And then you go 7 times 9, which is 63. Yes, 63. 0 times 9 is 0, plus 6 is 6. 8 times 9 is 72. Add those two up. Again, let's hope that we get the correct answer this time. 0 plus 3 is 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. The final answer is therefore 73,437. Now tell me where I went wrong in the comment section. So yeah, and that's a challenge for all students. So that's question answer D. So which you got it right correct. Now for question 5, I can scroll it till down, but we've been told that question 5, that the figure which is the following figure represents a rectangular mat. A part of the mat is decorated with flowers, which is this one. Okay, what's the area of the part decorated with flowers? Now, numerous students will have done this way, and they will have searched for the area of the rectangle, which is very wrong. You're just supposed to search for the area which is shaded, or the area which the flowers are in, which is a right angle triangle. So basically, you want to use length times width. You just say the area of the flower garden, or area of the mat covered with the flowers, will be equal to half times base times height. So half times base times height. So basically what we're saying is, you're taking a half times our base, which is 20 centimeter, times our height, which is 18 centimeter. Now 2 goes into 20 10 times, and 10 times 18 gives you 180 centimeter square. No bananas, no mangoes, but 180 centimeter square. Correct. So hopefully that is understandable. Now let's go to question 6. Now there's a guy called an athlete. Okay, an athlete ran different distances in meters every day. I don't know. There's an athlete that usually is in Kenya who runs a lot of distances. If you know that athlete, comment there. I don't remember him. Something, I don't know if it's Elliot or something. Kipuchugi. Just if you know the name, just comment there on the comment section. An athlete ran different distances in meters every day. The distance the athlete ran each day formed a pattern as shown in the table. Sawa. So umeambiwa Jumatatu, which is Monday, amekimbia 400 meters. Tuesday akakimbia 800 meters. Wednesday akaongeza akasema nikimbia mara mbili yake tena, akakimbia 1600. On Thursday akakimbia 3200 meters. We naye ameamua hata amemshinda ule ambaye nilimtaja sasa. So Friday akaona sasa 3200 meters nyingi, akasema achana na, ama sio hajaachana nao, kumbe ameendelea kukimbia. Okay, the question is asking you what distance did the athlete run on Friday? So obviously if you look at the pattern, for every consecutive day he runs 2 times the previous day. So for you to get 800, you multiply 400 to 2. So the same goes to 1600, nakimbia mara mbili yake. The same goes to 3200, and the same goes to the other day. So we should be 3200 times 2, which is 2 times 2 64, so 6400 meters. Now I can write here, so this is a sequence which is 400, 800, 1600, then we have 3200, right? So obviously the sequence okay, so 400, 800, 1600, 3200, followed by a number which you don't know, which we need to find it out. For you to get 800, you multiply by 2, you multiply by 2, you multiply by 2. So obviously the next number you also multiply 2 to 3200, therefore gives you 6400. Isn't this paper easy? Just the first 6 questions is asking you very simple questions. Now question 7, now it's on fractions, and I don't know why the students usually hate fractions. Now if you hate fractions, it means that you don't know how to share your cake amongst your siblings, which is a very bad thing. So you need to know how to calculate fractions, otherwise the cake you won't be able to share with anyone, because you don't know how to divide the cakes. Wanjala, and I don't know if it's a lady, Wanjala had a piece of land, mashallah. He gave 5/8 of the land to the son and a quarter to the brother to plant sugarcane. So what fraction of the land did Wanjala give to the son and the brother all together? Okay, so Wanjala, a person called Wanjala, he had a piece of land. He gave 5/8 of the land to the son, and then gave a quarter to the brother. Okay, now the question is asking you what fraction of the land did Wanjala give to the son and the brother all together? This is a very easy question. So you just take 5/8 plus a quarter. Now if you look at the denominators, they're not the same, but there's a possibility that you can make the 4 to be the same with 8. And how do you find that out? You multiply by 2 here, you multiply by 2. So a quarter is just similar to 1 times 2, which is 2, and 4 times 2, which is 8. And we say that if the denominators are the same, you don't add the denominators, but instead you just add the numerators directly and you leave the denominator that way. So 5 plus 2 gives you 7/8. So he gave out 7/8 in total. So this is your answer. Now let's go to question 8. Now question 8 saying that during a vaccination exercise in a certain county, 62% of the total population, 62% of the total vaccination was vaccinated against COVID-19. I don't know why do they like reminding us about the tragic disease COVID-19. Okay, this is what do you say it? Ninjama. 62% of the total population was vaccinated against COVID-19. What fraction of the population was vaccinated? Even I'm not understanding this question. Oh, what fraction? So 62%, if you write it in terms of fraction, it should be 62/100. But you can simplify by dividing it by 2. Dividing by 2 gives you 31/50. And therefore, I think that's your answer. Very simple question. So yeah, so this is your answer. You're not asked of the fraction of the population that was not first vaccinated, but instead that was vaccinated. So it's just basically 62%. Just change it into fraction, which is 31/50. Now question 9, what is 7/20 as a decimal? Question 9, what is 7/20 as decimal? Now a decimal is usually over 100 or over 10 or over 1,000 and etc. But if you look at this 20, is usually this is 20. There's a possibility for you to convert 20 into 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 or 10,000, but the easiest one is 100 because it's very near to it. And how do you do that? You usually do that by multiplying it to 5. So times 5 times 5. So the above one gives you 35, and 20 times 5 gives you 100. Now basically 35/100 is just the same as 0.35 because of the 2 decimal place, 1, 2, and that's why it gives you 0.35. So that is your answer. Another way of answering such a question, you might attempt to take 7 divided by 20, and then you add 0 to this because 20 cannot go into 7 unless you add 0. And if you add 0, you add 0 point at the top, and you ask yourself 20 goes into 70. How many times? It goes into 73 times, giving you 60, and it gives you a remainder of 10. Now since it's 10, you can add another 0, but you don't add anything at the top. You just leave the way it is. So 20 goes into 100. How many times? It goes into 105 times, therefore giving you 0.35. Is a very easy question. Now let's go to question 10, which is this one. So hopefully this is 0.35. Let me answer it there. Alana, work out the following task in an exercise book. 0.345 minus 0.236, and what was the correct answer? Now for you to do an operation like this, you need to write it in order. So you write 0.345 like this, and then start with 0.236, but start with 6 here, then go to 3, 2, then this way, and then subtract it. So obviously 5 minus 6, you can't subtract 5 with 6, so therefore, or you can subtract 6 from 5, therefore borrow 1 from 4, and giving you a remainder of 3. So 15 minus 6 gives you 9, and 3 minus 3 gives you 0, 3 minus 2 gives you 1, 0 minus 0 is just 0 point. So therefore your answer is 0.109, which is just this. Tamam. Now let's go to question 11. Now for question 11, you've been told that Tayari Farmers Society has 696 bags of fertilizer. The bags were shared equally among 12 farmers. And round off the two numbers, 696 and 12 to the nearest tens. Then find the number of bags each farmer got. So remember 696 bags. If you round it off to the nearest tens, remember this is ones, this is tens. Look at the number which is in front of it, which is 6. Is it greater than 5? Yes, if it's greater than 5, you round the 9 up by adding 1. And this one gives you 0. This one, add 1 to here because 9 plus 1 is 10. Therefore, carry 1 there. So 6 plus 1 gives you 7. For the 6, you just make it to be 0. So basically, 696 bags. If you round it off, it gives you 700 bags. Now, for the 12 farmers, we also need to round off 12 farmers. And obviously this is 12, so even if you round it off from the look of it, you can round it off to 10 because in front of 1 mbele ya 1 kuna 2 na 2 is less than 5, therefore you just leave the 1 to be the same and the 2 you make it to be 0. Now the question is asking you to find the number of bags each farmer gets. So the bags were shared equally. Now just assume that the bags were 700 and there were 10 farmers. So each farmer, okay, so each farmer, or how many bags does each farmer get? So how do you get that? 700 divided by 10, which gives you 70. Or another way, this way, if you don't understand this way, you do this simple way, which I'm showing it to you right now. You ask yourself, if 12 farmers, not 12, but if 10 farmers were given 700 bags, what about one farmer? So basically cross multiplication, which is 1 times 700 divided by 10 to give you 70. 70 bags. So this is your answer. Now let's go to question 12. Duta has two pieces of ropes measuring 123 centimeter, 7 millimeters, and 39 centimeter and 2 millimeters. What's the total length of the ropes that she has? So add those up. So 7 plus 2 gives you 9, so it's 9 millimeters. 3 plus 9 gives you 12. Carry 1, 3 plus 3, 2 plus 1 is obviously 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, so it gives you 162 centimeter and 9 millimeter. If it was 19 millimeters, then you could have taken the 1 and then carry it forward to 3. So basically this is your answer. So this is your answer. Now question 13. Abdi drew a straight line measuring 6 centimeters 5 millimeters. What was the length of the line drawn in millimeters? So 6 centimeters and 5 millimeters. Be reminded that for every 1 centimeter you have 10 millimeters. Okay, now let's change the 6 centimeter first into millimeters, and we do this by multiplying it to 10. So 6 times 10 gives you 60 millimeters. Now the 5 millimeters that we have, you add it to 60. So therefore 60 plus 5 gives you 65 millimeters. And that is your answer. And therefore this one is your answer. Now for question 14, a farmer had, which is question 14, this one. A farmer had 2,156 chicks. Okay, the chicks. Now don't misinterpret me. If you're a boy, don't misinterpret me. A farmer had 2,156 chicks. The chicks were to be distributed equally among 15 families. So the families were very kind to the chicks. Okay, the chicks were to be distributed equally among 15 families. How many more chicks will the farmer add for all the families to get an equal share? Okay, so now for this question you need to divide it. So let's divide the chicks with the families. But a lot of chicks, and then there are a lot of families and less families. How will you distribute those? Okay, 2,156 divided by 15 families, because since it's distributed equally, it means that there's division involved and not multiplication. So 15 goes into 21 one times, inaenda mara moja tu, then unapata minus 15 and it gives you a remainder of 6, because 11 minus 5 is 6. Drop the 5, gives you 65. Na 15 inaenda kwa 65 mara ngapi? Mara 4, ama ni mara 4. So inaenda kwa 65 mara 4, giving you 60. If you subtract that, it gives you a remainder of 5. Drop the 6. Now 15 goes into 56, because 15 cannot go into 5. You drop the 6, giving you 56. 15 goes into 56. Is it 5 times? No. Not 4 times, 3 times. So 3 times. So giving you 45. So again, 56 minus 45, it gives you 6 minus 5, 1, and 5 minus 4. Okay, you might think the answers to be 11, but it's not 11. Now you ask yourself, how many do you need for you to add 11? Yani wataka ngapi yani? How much do you need to add to 11 for you to get 15? Right? Because remember there's 11. So let's say there's 11 chicks remaining. So in which 11 chicks is not enough to divide into 15. So for it to be divided into 15, the 11 ones, or the 11 chicks that is remaining, need to add 4 for you to get 15. It's a very tricky question in which you need to be very, very vigilant on it. And so therefore your answer is 4 and not 11. So this is your answer in short. Now let's go to question 15. Alana made a hand washing container at home using a 20-liter jerry can. What was the capacity of the container in milliliters? Now again, you need to know this notations and conversions, everything. You need to know how many milliliters are in a liter, how many centimeter cube are in cubic meter, and all of those. But for now, for every 1 liter that you have is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so let's say you have 20 liters. Then how many milliliters do you have? So for liters to milliliters, you multiply by 1,000, and therefore you take 20 times 1,000, giving you 20,000 milliliters. So your value should be 20,000 milliliters, and the capacity is 20,000 milliliters. Khalas. Now let's go to question 16, a very easy question. Swali rahisi sana. A lori, gari kubwa. Ikiwa yani babako ako na lori, tuambie sisi pia tumtafute huyu babako. Haya, a lorry transported 4,500 kgs of sand to a construction site. What was the mass of the sand in tons? Again, you need to know these conversion units that mostly on capacity, on weights, on measures, and etc. So you know that for every 1 kg, you need to have 1,000 grams in it. Okay, so you ask yourself, what about 4,500? Now I'm very wrong because I'm not converting kilograms into grams. We're supposed to convert kilograms into tons. Therefore, for every 1 ton that you have is equivalent to 1,000 kgs. Okay, so therefore you ask yourself, what about 4,500 kgs? So for you to convert kgs into tons, you divide it. So 4,500 multiplied by the 1 ton divided by 1,000. So the zeros cancel out, and you just remain with 1 0 here. That is the 1 decimal point. So you go backwards 1 time, so it gives you 4.5 tons. So hopefully that is understandable. Napenda ku repeat your word understandable. I want my students to understand, even though we are in an online class, but still understanding is the key thing. If you don't understand here, so it will become very hard for you to understand any other place. Annie had 6.25 meters of clothing materials, but I believe that every student can think. There's no student that's not intelligent. All students are intelligent. It depends with you. Now, most people think that you just have intelligence of brain. There's intelligence of strength. There's intelligence of skills and etc. So yeah, know how to distinguish those. Anne had 6.25 meters of clothing materials. She used 1.5 meters to make a dress. What fraction of the material was not used? Very tricky question, because after getting the decimal answer, you need to convert the decimal into fraction. But now, it's asking you to what fraction of the material was not used, and then it just tells you keep your answer in decimal. Now, that fractions and decimals the same thing. Hitaji some albadiri, you know. Okay, Annie had 6.25 meters and she used 1.5. So 1.5 is written like this, 1.50. So you subtract to find out how much was not used. So subtract this, 2 minus 5, 2 cannot go to 5, 5 cannot be subtracted from 2, then carry 1 from 6. So 12 minus 5 gives you 7, 5 minus 1 gives you 4. So and therefore your answer is 4.75 meters. But now, and it had 6.2. She used 1.5 meters to make a dress. What fraction of the material was not used? A very tricky question, because I'm trying to grasp here how it's supposed to be, but let's still try it, because 4.75 can be written as 475 over 100, right? But now Is it just me, or is it the ones that who set the exam that are confused? Okay, I think after pondering a lot, I think I got. Oh, that's why they were asking what fraction of the material was not used. I have a very tricky question. If you're not very keen, then you could have get wrong. I don't know why. Is it this? They are we teaching our kids to be critical thinkers? But it's a nice question. It's a very nice question. Never seen this type of questions before. Now, what fraction of the material was not used? Remember that the fraction that was not. Remember the material that was not used is supposed to be 4.75 meters over 6.25. So that's the fraction that was not used. And that's why I'm telling you it's a very tricky question. Now, uh, if you look at it carefully, you need to simplify it. So for us to simplify such a question, times multiply by 100, multiply by 100 to give you 475 over 625. Now let's simplify it. Okay. But now for us to simplify this one, and it requires us to have to write it in decimal. So let's do it for this way. So 475, or is there a way? No, don't think. So 475 divided by 625. Now 625 cannot go into 475. So add 0 and add the 0 point. So 625 goes into 4650 how many times? Is it 7 times or 6 times? Something. I think it's 7 times. So because I did the calculation somewhere, but at your own time, look at it carefully. So it's 7 times, so giving you 4375. So if you subtract that, so subtract it 4750, 10 minus 5, so it gives you 5, 14 minus 7 gives you 7, 6 minus 3 gives you 3, and 375. Again, add the 0 here, and 625 goes into 3750, I think 4 times. If you take 625 times 4, I get around 2004. Is it 4 times? No, it's 6 times if I'm not wrong. So yeah, 6 times 3750. So 6 times, so giving you 3750 as your answer. So your final answer should be 0.76. A very tricky question. Now, a young farmers club in a school has 5 members. The members shared 65 kgs, 460 grams of sawdust equally for the poultry project. What was the mass of the sawdust received by each member? So remember, a young farmers club has 5 members. The members shared 65 kg. So this is question 18. So they had 65 kg altogether, and they shared it among 5 members. So what was the mass of the sawdust received by each member? Therefore, you need to divide it by 5. Okay. So 5 goes into 6 one time, giving you 5, and a remainder of 1. Drop the 5 because 5 cannot go into 1 only. So 5 goes into 15 3 times. It's giving you minus 15, exact value 13 kg. Now for 460, obviously 5 can't go into 4, but it can go, 5 can go into, if I'm not wrong, 5 can go into 46 9 times, giving you, since this one is just 0, so you can drop the 460, all of them, but let's just do it here. Let me drop this, all of it here. So 46 only. So again 46, 5 goes into 5 for 9 times, giving you minus 45. Then drop the 0 here, a remainder of 1. Remember, 5 goes into 10 2 times. So yeah, so 13, it gives you 13 kg and 92 grams. So 92 grams. Yeah, 92 grams. So 5 goes into 10, we say 2 times. So let's subtract this. And this, therefore, this is your answer. So it's 13 kg and 92 grams. Now, question 19, and we're very near to finish this paper. Atieno arrived in school at 7:15 in the morning. What was the time in 12-hour system? Right. So they told you 7:15 in the morning. So basically it is 7 a.m. But if it is 15:15, you add 15 minutes to it. So it's supposed to be 7:15 a.m. Mornings are usually in a.m. after midnight. Okay, so 7:15 a.m. For the a.m. part, you just leave it the way it is, but you just add 07. So it becomes 07:15 hours. So therefore, this is your answer. No, not 24 hours. So I didn't read the question well. It's supposed to be 12-hour system. Then if it is 12-hour system, is therefore 7:15 a.m. So yeah, 7:15. Now question 20. Ahmed, a very good name. Question 20. If you have that name, praise yourself. Ahmed bought 2 dresses at 900 shillings each. At 900 shillings each. Okay. He later sold each dress for 1,000. So he sold it for 1,150 shillings. That is each dress. So how much profit did he make? Now let's find out the buying prices for those dresses. And remember, it was 2 dresses, therefore 2 times 900, it gives you 1,800. And for the selling price for all of those dresses will be 1,150 times 2. So 2 times 1,150. We can multiply here 1,150 times 2. 0 times 2, 0. 5 times 2, 10. 1 times 2, 2. Carry on, add 1, gives you 3. 1 times 2 is 2, 2,300. So this is 2,300. So yeah. So he gets 2,000. He sells it at 2,300. So for you to get profit remember that profit is given by your selling price minus your buying price. So therefore your selling price being 2,300 minus your buying price being 1,800 is supposed to be 500 shillings. So this is your answer. Now let's go to question 21. Peter bought the following items from my shop. The item, which is mathematical set, it costs 250 shillings. Pen costs 45 shillings, pencil costs 25 shillings. Okay, it's a very expensive pencil and a very expensive pen. Hii ni bei ya comrade ama bei gani? Sielewi pia. But we've been told that he paid for all the items using a 1,000 shilling note. So how much balance did he receive? So remember that a mathematical set costs 250 for this question, not the real one. And if you add it to 45 for the pen, the pencil 25. So 5 plus 5 gives you 10. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 plus 4, 10. Then 12. 1 plus 2 is 320. So he was supposed to pay for this amount. But now remember that he gave out 1,000 instead of the 320 exactly. So if you take 1,000 minus 320, how much balance will he receive? Right. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 cannot get subtracted to 2. Carry 1. Borrow 1. Also the 0, which was supposed to be this one, you borrowed it from 1. But now since the 0 borrowed from the other 0 first, so therefore this one becomes 9. So 10 minus 2 gives you 8. 9 minus 3 is 6. Therefore this is your answer. So is our answer there? Yep, it is there. Now question 22. The following figure shows a triangle drawn accurately and Alana used the protractor to measure the angle marked R. What's the size of angle R? Right. For this question, we need to have a real protractor, not this one that we. I wish. Let's use a real protractor for now. Now let's start doing this. We have a protractor now, which we can use it to calculate the angle which is here. So you put the protractor quite nicely to there. Let me just put it very precisely. So yeah, so let's just assume it to be there. Now let's find out the angle. So remember, the zero will start from here, then there it's till here, which is around not 120. We're using the zeros, the zero that's starting from the bigger side. So the angle, the bigger angle that is, so that is 60 degrees. Okay, and that's therefore the answer is supposed to be 60 degrees. Let me write it there. 60 degrees. So yeah, it's not that hard. Don't know why most students think it should be hard. So let's continue the other question. Okay, question 23 of this paper. A grade 6 learner carried the following 3D object to use for collecting garbage in the school compound. So how many vertices and faces does the object have? Okay, vertices and faces does the object have? So if you look at it, now there's something called vertex and there's something called object. A vertex is this one. Okay, this is a vertex. So let's see how many vertices does it have, right? But now it seems that if you look at it, and I'm not sure. It looks like a vertex and also is a 3D object. So I don't know how to say it's at the top. So how do you ensure that that one is at the top? Okay, it might be a tricky question, but for now, for the vertices, they say that this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So those are 8 vertices. Okay, but it doesn't affect whether it's open or not. Remember that at the top is open. So basically, if it's open, it means that the top face won't be there. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3 face, we have 4 at the bottom, and 5 here. So those are 5 faces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just exclude the one at the top there. So basically, it's 8 vertices, but 5 faces. But 5 faces. That should be the case. But just in case I'm wrong, you can correct me if you're a teacher. But I'm very sure it should be like that. 24. Learners were asked to construct a rabbit hutch. They joined pieces of timber and made one side of the hutch as shown. So which of the following pieces of timber are parallel? So parallel are usually like this. So these are called parallel lines. Perpendicular lines are usually like this. So this line is perpendicular to this line. This line is parallel to this one. Now if you look at this one, it should be parallel to this, and this one should be parallel to this. Okay, I don't see any other line apart from those 2 lines. So which of the following pieces of timber are parallel? So we have G and J, and you also have H and I. So let's look at the answers and see whether we get one or not. So yeah, H and I. For E and H, no. E and H are not parallel. F and I also are not parallel. And E and F are not parallel. So question 25, the following bar graph shows favorite games as chosen by learners in a certain school. You have football, you have handball, you have netball, you have volleyball. So this is question 25. So let's find out the amount of learners that play football, which should be 120. This one should be 80. This one should be 90. Is it 90? No. Since it's in between 80 and 120, it should be 100 itself. So the number that is in between 80 and 120 is 100. So the number which is in between 40 and 80 is 60. So this one is supposed to be 60. So what's the number of learners who chose netball and volleyball all together? Netball and volleyball, it should be 100 plus 60 to give you 160. So yeah, now let's finish up. We just have a few questions. A hospital received 101 patients between Tuesday and Friday. So the sum of all of these patients are 101. The number of patients received each day was recorded in the following table except for one day. How many patients were received on Wednesday? So let's find out the total number of patients that were received on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday first. So 23 add to 18 add to 26. So 6 plus 8, 14. 14 plus 3 gives you 17. So 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 67. But remember, the ones that were there were 101 patients. So where did the others go? The others went on Wednesday. So 101 minus 67. So let's calculate 101 minus 67. So 1 cannot subtract with 7. Borrow 1 from this guy, which is here, giving you 9. 9 minus 6, 3. 11 minus 7 is supposed to be. But make sure you subtract this one first. This is 4. Then 9 minus 6 gives you 34. So the answer is 4. 34, not 4. During a class visit to a construction site, learners observed a stone in the shape of a cube. Which of the following 2D shapes did they see on the face of the stone? Learners observed a stone in the shape of a cube. So obviously they saw a square, right? So they saw a square. So basically a cube looked like this. So if they saw something like this, they saw this face, and this face is a 2D face, which is a square. It can be possible, can be circle or rectangle, and cube is usually square and not a rectangle. Question 28. Fatu. Alhamdulillah, I have a lot of friends called Fatuma. Question 28. Fatuma left home at 11:20 a.m. and drove to town. She arrived in town at 2:30 p.m. How long was her journey from home to town? Right. Now 2:30, if you write it in 24 hours clock system, should be 14:30 hours. For the other one, 11:20 a.m., basically it's just 11:20 hours. But by the way, you can subtract this too. 30 minus 20 is 10. 4 minus 1 is 3. So basically, it's 3 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, from 11:20 to 2:30. Just 3 hours, then 10 minutes. So that is your answer. Unless she arrived it the other day, which is quite not possible. Kantai. Mr. Kantai can tie a tie. Why can't you tie a tie? Because Mr. Kantai can tie a tie. It reminds me way long back. 29. Kantet bought 6 pineapples and some oranges from a market. The total number of pineapples and oranges bought were less than 25. Okay, let the number of oranges be represented by letter X. Which of the following inequalities correctly represent the information? So he bought 6 pineapples and some oranges. Okay, the total number of pineapples and oranges. So pineapples was 6. And the total number of pineapples and oranges bought were less than 25. So if you represent X as oranges, then what is the inequality then? So the total number of pineapples and oranges, which is X plus 6, and I don't know why I'm writing X plus X. It's supposed to be X plus 6, while less than 25. Not less or equal, but less than 25. So I think this is your answer. So, okay. Very easy question. Question 30, the last but not the least. A school bought 56 pairs of games, and I'm feeling very comfy now. For 1 hour, I'm just teaching like a Statue of Liberty. A school bought 56 pairs of games uniform for handball and netball teams. The handball team received 18 pairs. The number of pairs of uniform received by the netball team be represented by letter X, be by letter Y. Which of the following equations represents the information? So school bought 56 pairs of games uniform for handball and netball teams. The handball team received 18 pairs. Okay. Let the number of pairs of uniform received by the netball team be represented by letter Y. Now, for you to get the total pairs for Y, because you don't know the netball team, but the easiest way is just if you take Y, that's the netball team, and then add to the 18 pairs for the handball team. So the total of those should be 56. So if I take Y plus 18 equal to 56. So which is just this one. It's not that hard. So yeah. So again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also share it to your friends. This is Mind Mastery Tutor. If you're grade 6, this is the first time that you're seeing this video. So don't forget to subscribe to channel. Whichever suggestion that you have, you can write it on the comment section. Anything you maybe didn't understand a specific topic, I might try doing that for you. So wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.